Okay, great. So we are live on YouTube, getting set up with Facebook, and perfect. So, welcome everyone. So we'll be doing coding challenges, but first I'm going to share the story that we did in our previous coding club session, and it's this one. I'm going to put it in the chat for you guys. And you can see that it is a remix of this story. So this story is the original story. And we just went through and changed some things. But we use text variables. And today we're going to be talking all about text variables and trying to understand why text variables are cool, essentially. And so let's get started. So the coding challenges, I'm going to first show you what the end result is going to be, and then we're going to figure out how to code this backwards. So basically we're going to take the final product and we're going to try to figure out how it works before we go and connect the blocks together. So this one here is the student workbook. Wait, both of them are the student workbook? Here we go. So this one here is not the student workbook. The student workbook has the exact same thing as the coding challenge, but with all of the connections removed. So you would have to connect the blocks together and put the stuff inside. And we'll do those together. So up first is the simple one, which is using a reader response and setting it as a text variable. So this is used when we do a Mad Lib story or when we want to ask the reader for their name. So in this case, every time we say hello Nicole or Emily, so it'll be like hello Emily, or let's say Carolina, Carolina. Okay, there we go. That's how you spell it. Hello Carolina. And you notice that every time it's this part of the sentence that changes. So that's our first thing that we're going to go through. And this is what we used when we created the Mad Lib story that we played at the very, very beginning. That's not part of this video, but you can find it in other videos. Okay, so we have this, and then the second one is as follows. So oftentimes in games or in stories, you have like a choice, right? You can choose to have different items or choose to pick up certain things, okay? So here is like, what path do you choose? Do you want to be a knight? Do you want to be a magician? Or do you want to be an alchemist? You want to be an alchemist? So when I click a magician, okay, you want to be a magician? So I'm going to click on magician. And I don't have the next page set, that's why. So you have chosen to be a magician. So if I go back and I choose to be a knight, you have chosen to be a knight. And if I click on this, you have chosen to be an alchemist. So what part is changing in the sentence? Yeah, so it's the last, well, it's actually the last two words because I have and sometimes I have a, so a knight, and alchemist, okay? So variables can be used in this sort of way as well. You don't necessarily have to type in something and then use it. You can choose to click on different things and set the variable value to be something. In this case, I can choose it to be an alchemist. And our third example, our last one is coming up. Our third example is an example using code, like a secret code. So you have to basically, in this case, click on the images in the right order. Okay, so that's the objective. You have to click on the images in the right order, and then maybe that can open up a secret door or do whatever you want. Okay, so what do you think the order is? So circle, triangle, square, circle, triangle, square. Let's try that. I click next. That's right. So let's try it again. Oh, I can't go backwards. I think I locked the page. My bad. But if you get it wrong, then it'll say try again. So circle, triangle, square is the right order. And since I locked the page, I can't go back and try that puzzle again. So congratulations, you got the puzzle right. So in this case, it's an example of having things in order, but you can do you could do anything in order. So like one example that you can maybe do is you have different objects and you can do like a timeline. So I was actually talking to someone who who creates escape rooms as a job. Like his job is to create escape rooms. And so we were talking about different puzzles that, you know, he usually uses, and he has one that's called a timeline puzzle. So in a timeline puzzle, you can have different images, such as like and they're part of a timeline. So let me give you an example. It's easiest with an example. You can have, like, for example, a CD, a cassette, and Spotify, like the icon for Spotify. So then you would be like, okay, what order is it? And if it's a timeline, well, it's like, which one came first? It was the cassette that came first, then the CD, and then Spotify, right? So that would be the order. So timelines are really cool to do orders with. Anyway, the last one, so you remix one of the stories to figure out how to lock pages? Yeah, so remixing is really great because then you can see all of the code. And that's actually what we're going to do with the student workbook. We're going to remix it and then try to get this to work. So I'm going to click next. And the last one is actually going to be a calculator. So I want you to take a look at this calculator, and it's going to work just like a calculator. You can do 5 plus 5 equals... Okay, I can clear it. Give me something else. 5 times 4. So it works just like a calculator, and basically you can code your own calculator using variables. So this is a more complex example, but it's actually not that hard to do. It just takes a lot of time because you have a lot of buttons that you have to have click events on. So then you could do 20 times 2, 40 minus, I don't know, 40, 44, okay. Minus, why does my 0 not work? I guess my 0 is not coded properly. Divided by 2. Pretty cool. Okay, so let's actually try to code all of this step by step. So we'll go through, and here's the student workbook if you want to remix it yourself and work along. Otherwise, you could just pay attention and work with me. So I'm going to click on the remix button. It's going to copy the student workbook, which is without all the connections. So if I look at the event graph, you'll see that, oh, there's no connections. And if there's no connections, then that means the code will not work, because if I go here, I can type everything I want in here and nothing will happen. Absolutely nothing will happen. So let's go step by step. And the first one is we're going to create a text variable. So remember, variables are our containers. They hold a value, and this value can always change. So in the example of the name, it can be Susan, it could be Bob, it could be Mark, it could be whatever you want. So, and the second thing we have to remember is when we create a variable, so let's go ahead and create one. And I'm going to call my variable name, or let's ask them a question. How about that? So give me a question. Oh, I can't edit it. That sucks. Okay, that's not cool. I've been having trouble with the lock. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and add a new page and copy this, move this over, and we're gonna just code it from scratch because I want to change the placeholder, and for some reason lock is being a pain. So give me a question. What question do I ask? How old are you? Okay. So my question is, how old are you? And I'm going to go to the event graph. And the first thing I need is a variable. So I'm going to grab a variable. And I need to create a variable. So I'm going to go ahead and create one. And I need to name it something. So let's name it something. What do we name it? It doesn't matter what you name it, actually. You can name it... Okay, age. Okay, yeah, let's use age. So we're going to call it age, but you can call it anything you want. You can call it ZZZZZ if you wanted to, but that just makes it really difficult to read. So, and the thing that we have to do is we have to remember that this, the curly brackets or the mustache, this basically is the variable. So we're going to replace name, and what do we put instead? We put age. Okay, and it needs to match exactly. So if you have capital letters, then you have to put capital letters in here. Computers are really, really stupid. They need you to do everything for them. So yeah, computers are pretty stupid. So if you put a capital A, like if you do capital AGE, it's not gonna be happy with that. So we have to make sure that it matches exactly. If it's lowercase, it's lowercase. Okay, so we created our variable. We're not doing anything with the variable. You can't move anything around. Yeah, it's because right now we've been having problems with the lock. I can't move it around either. And I can't unlock this, so that's why I created a new page, unfortunately. So sorry about that. You can create a new page. Figuring out why it's locking everything. I think it has to do with when I like copy and paste things and then it just locks. Not really sure. So I'm going to do my best to just recreate this page. Yeah. So yeah, hello one doesn't make sense. So we have to change this. What do we say? Cool. You're 8 years old? Something like that. My little there we go. Let's go ahead and make this black again, and we can highlight this if we wanted to by making it pink or something. Okay, so we created our variable, but we're not doing anything with it. So we need to actually have an event first because events are needed for any code to run. So what event do we use? You don't know what we're trying to do? So remember, we need to set the variable. We need to set the variable to whatever the reader puts in. Can you move the text box around? If you move the text box around, you should be able to type in it. You might need a double click to type inside. Okay, so hold on. Troubleshooting something right now. Okay, so we need to use the onTextInput event. So basically, onTextInput is an event that triggers when you exit the text box. So let's say I'm going to preview. OnTextEvent happens when I press enter or when I click outside of the text box. So you see the text box has the the blinking cursor thingy, the line. When I exit, then that is when the text box, the event triggers. Yeah, so when the text box is locked, you can't type in it. And right now you see you can't unlock it, which is kind of stupid, but that's okay. It's going to be fixed. So just unfortunately deal with it right now. Yeah, it'll be fixed soon, probably this weekend, because it makes me upset as well. So let's move on. And I need my event, and I need, what do I need? I need to set my variable equals to a text object. So I'm going to grab my text field. So this is what I'm typing in. And how do I connect the blocks together? Anybody know? How do I connect my blocks together? Who wants to help me? Okay. Help me drag and connect the blocks together. Yes? Yep, so purple circle connects to the purple circle. Just try it out. And then we need to select the variable. So there's a select variable. And we have a lot of variables. So which one is the one that we used? Okay. So you're having trouble with Chromebooks. Can you let me know exactly what your problem is on Chromebook? Give me back the remote control. Okay, let's preview. And let's put in a number. 100. 2. Oh, you can't help code with the remote control because you're on Chromebook. Oh, that's nice to know. So I can't give mouse and keyboard control if you're on Chromebook. I did not know that. I knew you couldn't give it to certain people, but I didn't know who exactly you couldn't give it to. So good to know. Next time though, I can give you annotation control, and you can, or you already have annotation control, and then you can help me with annotating, or maybe you can't. It also depends, I think, on if your school allows that. Okay, so that's basically how we get the reader response, and then you're pretty much set up to create your own Mad Lib story. And later on, you can even go and use logic and use the CompareText block like this. You can select the variable that we're dealing with, and you could compare it to a value. So you could say like 12. And if it's exactly 12, then something can happen. So this is really good if you use like a question or something and you want to compare it to an answer. Or if you have a hidden code or a secret code. Yeah, for escape rooms, they're really good because then you can create a code and then use the CompareText for riddles as well. Yeah, awesome. So CompareText is pretty awesome. So this is the beginner, and if you need help with all of this again, there's also a tutorial how to use a text variable that does the exact same thing. Okay, so let's move on to the second one. So how do you think we do this one? Setting a variable value. So what event do I have? So what event is what is happening on this page? When I preview, what is happening on this page? So I need to first do something. What do I first do? I have to choose something, right? So I have to go to the one that actually the code actually works. So it's glowing, which means I can do something with it, right? I can click on it. So I need a click event somewhere. So I can click on it, and I'm not going to the next page, which is not set up right. And then when I go to the next page, something happens. So let's go through this step by step. I'm going to go to the event block, or the event graph side. I can't speak today. And I have my blocks already here. So I'm going to go full screen so you can see. And we have our 3 images here and 3 on-click events. And then we have this thing called variable equals value. So variable equals value is a block that just sets a variable equal to a certain value. So how can I connect my blocks together and get it to all work? So first of all, we have to see what variable did I create. I created the variable job. You can name it whatever. In my case, I called it job. And because I want to say, oh, you can either be a magician, an alchemist, or a knight, for example. And who wants to help me out? Connecting. Okay. I'm going to give you my mouse. Supernova has already helped you with how to connect things together. You don't understand what she just said. Okay, we'll try connecting things together. Okay, so we're missing the most important step. Yep, that's one of them. And then we have to set the value. I don't know. Yeah, it's job. Okay, so now we need a value. What value do I put inside? It's really small because I deleted it. So what do I put inside? So this is the tricky part. Give me back the remote control. I'm going to show you the example again and then try to figure out what the value is. So remember, the variable is job. The value is what the variable basically contains. So if we think of a variable as a container, you can put different things in it, right? You could put knight, magician, alchemist. So I'm going to preview. You understand nothing? Okay, let's try again. So you already said what's changing from this in this sentence. The 2 words at the end are changing, right? Okay. So the 2 words at the end are changing, and they're the value that we store in the variable. So if we say you have chosen to be job, then the value is, so let me go back here. It looks like this. You have chosen to be job, right? So what do I put for the value? Here. So night. Then what do I put here? Alchemist. And this one. Okay. So, and I'm gonna do a go to next page so we can see it better. So, go to next page, go to page 5, and let's test it out. Okay, so let's test it out. You have chosen to be night. Okay, so what should I change it to? A knight, an alchemist, and a magician. Knight, you have chosen to be a knight. You have chosen to be a magician. You have chosen to be an alchemist. So in this way, you can have the player choose something and then influence whatever content you want to write about. So it could be something as simple as we saw it before in the Mad Lib story that I showed you, where if I say like Buffy, I don't know, cheeseburger and Sam, I don't know, fluffy, cute, spicy. And then here I have choose a snack, right? So if I choose donut, like I'm not typing anything in, but I'm setting the value of the snack variable. So I have a variable called snack, and depending upon what I choose, so I could choose the donut, then I will say spicy donut. Does that kind of make a little bit more sense? And to make things a little bit even crazier, you can make it so that what they choose doesn't necessarily have to do anything with the value. So for example, you can say even like, okay, if you choose the sword, the value can be, I don't know, that you are, let's say, courageous. And if they choose, I don't know what a potion can be, let's say charming. And if they choose this, you could say crazy. And then are very, so let's preview. So when I choose a knight, it's like, you are very courageous. And then when I choose this image, you are very crazy. And this one, you are very charming. So that's another way that you can use this block. So this is setting a variable value, and it's very useful setting a variable value. Okay, let's try the third one. And this is having a puzzle where you have to select things in the right order. So to give you a clue, I'm going to go ahead and put the variable here. So I called the variable code. I named it code. So how do I put it here if I want to see the variable? I need the curly brackets or the mustache, code, the curly brackets. What do you know about this? So it's the number of sides least to greatest. Yep, that's right. So the answer to this riddle is that the circle is first because it has 0 sides. Then the triangle is next because it has 3 sides. And then the rectangle is last because it has 4 sides. That's the riddle. It's not just random. So, okay. So I'm going to have code here. And to give you an idea, we have this block. Yeah, they just happen to be in order, but you can do it like this, and then we can do the same exact thing. Okay, so we have this block called add text to variable. So in order to show you, I'm just going to show you it really quickly. I'm going to just connect the blocks together. I chose to use the variable code, and I'm going to select add after. This means whatever my value is here, it's going to be added after my variable code. And when the page starts, I want to just make it so my code is nothing. It has no value. So right now, I'm going to press preview. So it's glowing. That means I can click on it. And you see it's 0. I only did it once. So let me make it a on click so you can see better what I'm trying to get at with the add after. Zero, 0, 0. Does that make sense? Add after adds the number or whatever value after. Okay, so I'm going to set this up. So when I click, okay, we'll take a look at it. It's best to figure it out when we see the example. Okay, so I'm going to press preview. So what I did was, we can call this, I'm going to call this 0, this 3, and this 4. And I'm just calling that because it has that many sides, and that way I can remember what I'm talking about. So I'm going to preview. And 0. How many sides does this have? 3. How about this one? 4. So you see 0, 3, 4. Okay. So if I preview again, if I do this one, 4, 3, 2. Or 0. 4, 3, 0. So what I did, can you do 3, 4 like that? 4, 3, 4. 4, 3, and you can't do 4 because I used the on click once block. Yeah, so you could only click on it once. So that way you can only click on objects one time. Okay, so what I did was, okay, now we have an order, right? So what would be the right order for this puzzle? So this puzzle is what's the right order? And we're looking at sides. So which one has the least amount of sides? It's the circle. So what should the code be then? You see the numbers here that popped up? What should it be? 0? 0, 3, 4 would be the correct answer. Okay, so let's keep that in mind. 0, 3, 4 is the correct answer. And what we can do then is, let me just go to the next page really quick. So what we can do then is when we go to the next page to check the answer, we can use the compare. the compare block. So when the page starts, I check the variable code, which is what we're looking at, code, and I compare it with 0, 3, 4, which is my right answer. And if it's the right answer, if it matches exactly, remember it has to be exactly. If there's like an extra space, computers are stupid and they'll say it's a different answer. So, and if it's correct, then we say that's right and we fade in the next button. And if it's wrong, we say not quite, try again. Like that. So let's take a look. Wow, computer, she didn't mean it. No, computers are not the brightest, I must say. They really aren't. It's unfortunate, but it's true. Okay, so let's click on preview. Wow, that's kind of rude. Yeah, I think you would feel the same way after dealing with a lot of computer failures all day long. So if it's, let's do this 4, 3, 2, or 4, 3, 0. And this is, if I, oh, next is not coded yet. So if I go to the next, not quite, try again. So if I go back, 0, 3, 2. That's, or 0, 3, 4. I keep on saying 2. I don't know why. That's right. And then you could go to the next puzzle. So that is an example of how you can deal with ordered pictures or order anything. So if you want to have the player click on things in a certain order in order to get the puzzle right or go to the next page, have a secret thing happen, then you can do so by using the add text to variable block. Now remember, if you ever use the add text to variable block, we will need to reset the variable, because after some time, if you use the on click, especially where they can just spam the on click, you would have to reset it at some point. Okay, so we're going to take a look at how we can reset it with the calculator example. So I have a variable and it's called calculator. So I don't know where I created it. I created it somewhere. Ah, it's here. I created it here. So I'm going to make it full screen. So before we take a look at all of this, there's a lot of buttons and a lot of code. Let's go back and go to the layout design and think about. No. That would be horrible if we had to put every single correct answer. No. We're not doing that. So we're gonna write down our algorithm, which is our steps. So let's say, what do we do? Step 1 is what? Can you copy and paste whole lines of code? That'd be really useful. Yeah, that would be really useful. I can see if people can do that. I will put it as a request. We'll see. So if that would be possible. Okay, so step 1. What do you do first? When you're playing around with the calculator, what happens first? Okay, well, let's walk through it. So where's my calculator? Oh, I have to get it right to go to the next page, apparently. Okay, we're here. So we have to click on the numbers, right? And the numbers will show up. That's step 1. So step 1, click on the numbers. So the button, we have to be more specific. The button numbers. Click on the button numbers. Let's do that. Let's do step by step. So click on the button numbers. have the button number show up. Okay, so that's step 2. So let's try to do step 1 and step 2. Let's try to do these 2 steps first. Click on the button numbers and have the button number show up. So the first thing is we create a text variable, and in my case I called it calculator. So I created it here, and what I'm going to do is on page start, I want to set the value to something that's completely empty. Okay? So let's take a look at this part, this little piece of code right here. So how do I connect these together? It's very similar to the example we just did before, like pretty much the same. You want to help me out? Yes, no, maybe so? Okay, so purple circle to purple circle, white triangle to white triangle. And we use the add text to variable block. And which variable are we looking at? Calculator. And we're going to add it after. And what's the text value we put in? Which is? Not quite. It's what's going to show up. What's showing up when I click on 1? Yeah, what number? All right, let's try it. Let's try it. Give me an example. Let's say happy. So if I click preview, I click on the number 1, happy appears. Is that what I want? What do I want? Which is, okay, the number needs to be 1. So let's try it again. When I click on 1, 1 appears. Seems pretty good. So let's do it with number 2 now. So when I click on 2, I want to use the same variable. I want to add it after. And what value do I want? Two. So let's preview. 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 1, 2. Looks pretty good, right? Okay, so basically this is our step 1 and step 2, and we just have to do it for all of the numbers. So 3, what do I put for the value? I put 3. 4, what do I put for the value? 4. And I do the same thing for all of them. So 5, what do I put for the value? 5. 6, I put 6. 7, I put 7. 8, I put 8, and we have one more number. Yep, 9. Whew, so now we have all the numbers set up properly. So 1, 5, 6, 9, or 9 didn't work. 8, 8's not working either. Okay, so why is 9 and 8 not, oh, why is 8 not working? It's because I didn't select calculator. Let's try again. 7, 8. Is there a reason why? Oh, why is 9 not working? Can you figure out why 9's not working? What did I miss? I missed the purple circle to the purple circle. So I missed connecting that. So let's test it again. Yep, it's not connected. 9, 8, 7, 4, 5. Okay, seems to be good. Ah, 0's not working. Where's 0? Where's 0? Let's make it bigger. Do you see a 0 anywhere? Oh, poor 0. It got forgotten. Okay, so I'm gonna add 0. And it's the same thing. Calculator, add after 0. Okay, so we have all the numbers set up, and basically we need to do the same thing for all of the, what is it called? All of the operations. So when I click add after, I need to put a plus, and then I need to put a minus. I need to put a multiplication. So multiplication is the this thingy. It's the little star. If you put X, it won't like that very much. And division is the this symbol is division. Okay, so let's get that set up. So I'm going to preview. So this is actually the division that computers use. They use this. They don't use the line with the two dots, the one above it. Yeah, so that's why unfortunately. So 12 divided by 12. Okay, so now we can do all sorts of operations. What's the last step? So the last step is equal. So when we equal, we press the equal number. We want to calculate this, right? So we have this lovely block called calculate. And basically you take equals. When you click on it, you calculate. And you need to calculate what? What are we calculating? What's the variable? We have these options. Which one is it? Yep, you need to use calculator. So the operation is calculator, and the result, you can create a new variable called result. So we can actually do that if we wanted to. And we can set the variable result or answer, it doesn't matter. We could call it answer. We could do this. So I'm going to show you two ways. So first step is get the button numbers to show up. Get the button numbers / operations to show up. Have the button number / operation. And step 3 is to click on the equal sign and calculate. So these are our basic instructions. So I'm going to preview. So 6 minus 3 equals, oh, I don't have result, that's why. So let's put result here. Or no, we called it answer, right? Sorry. We renamed it to answer. So if I press preview, 3 minus 3 equals 0. Okay, so we can keep doing that. So we could do plus or times 2 equals, so this is not really correct. So let's see. No, it's correct. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 minus 6 is -3. Perfect. Calculator's working properly. Okay. But in our case, most calculators, they don't have two separate places, right? You just see the answer directly when you click on the equal button. So the result, we just replace it with calculator. So if I preview, 6 minus 2 equals 4 times 2 equals 8 plus 5. Pretty cool, no? Okay, so what's our last step? Well, I mean, we're still missing something. Like every calculator, like, let me preview. What if I want to start over? Yeah, I need to have the clear button. So it's like CC on most calculators. So CC is our clear button. So we need to code our clear button. So click the CC clear button and set. So what happens when I click on this button? What do I want to do? So I want to delete my answer, right? So how do I do that? So we only have these blocks. Let's take a look. So we're dealing with a variable because remember the variable is called calculator. And we can do, so someone said set calculator to an unused variable, make a blank variable. You can do that, but that would be, I think, kind of trickier after a long period of time because you would need a lot of variables. So how did I start this this page? When you start this page, you have a blank, it's empty, right? Yeah, so it's all empty. So we want to use the variable equals value. And then, so let me go down, let me go down, let me go down. We're going to use variable equals value, and we're just going to leave it blank like this. So instead of adding something inside, we're just going to get rid of everything and make it completely blank, and this will reset everything. So let's preview and let's take a look. 2 minus 2 equals 0 times 6 equals 0 plus, I don't know, 156. Clear. You have a calculate button. Computers are able to calculate arithmetic with you just typing in like 2 plus 2. So if you in most, it's coded in this button, this function. So in this block, it takes your string. So your string, let me put it in. It could be something like 2 plus 2 plus 3 divided by 3. And it could be something like this. And then it'll just calculate that. So calculator. So if we say calculator is equal to, so JavaScript or any of the coding languages, all coding languages, if you type in any sort of simple arithmetic thing, it will calculate it for you. It just understands how to do that. So so if you do something like this, it'll work. Does that kind of make sense? A little bit, maybe. So we basically have spent the entire period doing these short, well, some of them weren't short. This one was kind of long. These challenges. And I don't know if any of you have any questions at this point. Yes, no, maybe so. You don't have any questions? Okay, great. So I was thinking next week we were going to do escape rooms. How does that sound? So we'll do some escape room puzzles. I think I'll have some puzzles at that time, and then you can use ideas from those puzzles to create your own puzzles. Okay? So if that's it, then I'll see you guys next week, okay? And I'll be signing out. So need to stop everything.